All right. Hey guys. Hey Chris. We're trying a different format here. And before, what we were doing, and our team was doing an awesome job making edits and cutting our videos down to just kind of be really short, really impactful, and really value packed. And the reason why we were trying this different approach, and probably it's going to live together, it's really a way for people to get to know us a little bit on a personal level, as well as we're going to include some value in this in these kinds of videos as well. Yeah, Chris, what are your thoughts? Like, why are we trying? What are we even doing here? Why are we doing this?
You know, we make short videos because, of course, we got to cater to the ever shrinking attention spans that are out there. But for people who are serious about gaining insight into what it takes to create a real, powerful marketing system for their syndication, this is the format for them, right? So we can talk a little bit more about who we are. So, you know, if you end up working with us, you know what you're getting into, and then, to glean some tactics, and some strategies. So I think this is the format for you if you're serious about diving deeper, rather than just fun little TikTok style stuff.
Okay, so here's what we did for our first video. And by the way, if anybody has experience doing LinkedIn live events, let us know, because what would be awesome is if Chris and I were able to live stream this over to LinkedIn. So kind of learning about what that includes and see if there's any particular strategies to employ there to get the most views and increase our reach. But we think that'd be kind of fun to just kind of let anybody tune in as they're scrolling their feed. They see our beautiful faces on there and they're like, hey, those guys look like they're having fun. I want to join in. Give us a like, along on your scrolling journey. So anyway, we had our marketing manager, we had her create some questions for us, and we haven't seen the questions in advance. So we're going to be taking turns asking each other these questions, just having a dialogue for the next 20 minutes or so. And yeah, you'll get to learn about us, and we'll share some capital raising marketing tactics and strategies along the way. I'll ask the first question, Chris.
Sure.
And my question is this: can you share a pivotal moment or experience that led you to co-founding Raise Ready?
Pivotal moment, man. Well, it kind of goes back to when Vitaliy and I, we were running a marketing, agency that was serving all different kinds of verticals, and we would kick butt for our clients. We really went to bat for them, did everything for them, and they would experience results, and that's fine and dandy. But we just had like nothing to our name. We're living a very scrappy lifestyle, and it's something that I think it happens. It's a bank account moment when you're looking at your stuff and you're like, dude, we're working so hard, putting out great material, stuff that's like world class, and like, what do we have to show for it? And it wasn't much. And it made me think back to when I was doing marketing for syndications, and I really enjoyed it because it felt like a win-win-win. And seeing videos about the riches are in the niches, hearing people say that, and it just all kind of clicked at a certain moment. And I was like, we gotta switch it up, because this is painful, and we liked what we still love what we do, but it wasn't moving the needle for some reason. And just had to do that. But I would press that question back to you. I mean, what about you? What was a pivotal moment?
I think, to add on to what you were just saying, for me, a big one was, and this is kind of something that was kind of ingrained in me in like having a design background. You go to school and you're like, all the graduates, all the, they go through this, like, how do I explain it? It's like everybody becomes an expert in everything, or an expert, but then that really means that you're not really an expert in any of the things. And so it's fun learning new things and about all the industries and whatnot, but it wasn't until you find a niche and you realize just how deep it's, an infinitely deep cavern of things you have to learn, and the deeper you go within a certain niche, the deeper it becomes. So it's a never ending thing. So instead of going broad horizontal, you go vertical. And yeah, so having to relearn things and relearn systems, and God, it was a lot. So yeah, niching down was really it. But I want to say too, like, we had the digital collective that we started even in this niche, in the real estate syndication space. And then it wasn't until a year or so ago that we said, okay, let's rebrand, because the digital collective was kind of a relic from our previous agency. And then it wasn't until a year ago that we were like, okay, let's niche down to, not even niche down. It was really just like, hey, let's double down on the capital raising side. And so then we created Raise Ready Systems. I took a year off and worked at a job, and then a W-2, and then so I left that and then rejoined Raise Ready, and we kind of rebranded and further streamlined what that solution is for our clients, which is like not a full service agency anymore. We went from like full service agency in the real estate syndication space, and now marketing and marketing systems and capital raising systems. So that's kind of where we are now. So yeah, that was a big pivotal moment for us, just kind of further going down the rabbit hole and uncovering new ways to add value. So
I think any entrepreneur will know, like, that the pain drives you, right? Like but we didn't. Here's the most important thing: we never gave up. Okay, and there were some really emotionally painful times that they feel like your darkest hour, and it's just, and I'm not exaggerating at all. It just feels like, dude, am I worthy, like, to be standing in the halls of entrepreneurs? Like, am I about to tank right now? Is this all about to fall apart? And am I about to go back to the workforce? And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world if you're out there in general workforce 9 to 5. Great. But it just wasn't something that I wanted to go back to, and but yeah,
there's
still standing, baby.
Things I want to say to that is, one, it's more painful to lose $100 than it is to gain it.
Yeah.
So that's one. Let's go on to the next question, Chris, if you want to ask it. Pick any question off the list.
I might have a different list here, but I'm going to ask something here. It says, what activities do you enjoy when you're out of the office? I guess, so what do you like to do when you're not here? Do I have the same list as you?
I don't know where that one is, but let's go with it. Let's go with it.
Roll with it. Let's roll with it.
Yeah. So I have a family. I enjoy spending time with them. I enjoy traveling with my family. I enjoy going on walks. That's something that, like, I like to impersonate, imbue a little bit more into my personality, which is like, if I'm just because, like, I don't want my work just to be counted as work if I'm behind my computer. Like, there's so much retrospection that happens when I'm out on a walk. If I just say, okay, like this morning, by the way, I started my work day by going on a walk. And so I had queued up a couple of YouTube videos that I was going to listen to, and it was all related to marketing and entrepreneurship and all that good stuff. So and I feel like that level of work is so much different than the work that happens when I'm behind my computer. Behind my computer, it's like task list whack-a-mole, like one, I prepare my to-do list in Notion the day before. The day after, I know exactly what I have to do to sit down, because if you don't have that list, you're going to get sucked into the very first thing that gets your attention. And then after that, you're doing something else. And it's just like, then your whole day is shot, and you could get away the entire day without getting anything done in your actual list. So I come prepared. I know exactly what I have to do in order to move the needle forward. And I go off of my to-do list. Now, on the strategic, that's like on the tactical level. On a strategic level, like, I can't be in front of my computer and think strategically. Like, those two don't go hand in hand. I'm way too close physically and mentally. Yeah. So I like photography. I like outdoors. I like hiking. I like travel. Love spending time with my family. I love going out to eat. My wife is a huge foodie. So yeah, love eating at fancy places. Such an awesome experience.
Upscale.
Yeah. Dude, and what I have kind of learned is that Minneapolis has a ton of great food. It's such a sleeper city. Like, anyone who knows of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities, they know that there's so much great food here. And so, yeah, love eating, love spending time with my daughter. Huge sources of motivation for me. So dinners, family.
Food.
Yes.
Food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Family.
What about you, Chris? What do you like to do outside of the office?
So mainly I'm a very, I guess, relaxed person. So, I mean, I like legitimately enjoy meditating time. So you're talking about like a morning routine. When I am able to get up at a respectable hour, I go for a walk as well, and then
Nice.
I'll come back and immediately clear my head, right? So people say that all the time. It's just like, I just need to clear my head. But what does that actually consist of? It's me sitting down 15 minutes and just watching my thoughts go by without actually attaching myself to those thoughts and following them down their respective rabbit holes, right? Just watching, let them just go crazy, and that's always nice. Hiking, I absolutely love getting outside. I'm fortunate enough to live in Southern California here, so there's no shortage of cool waterfall hikes, and that's another thing. Cliff diving, I love. Now, cliff diving sounds really extreme, right? I'm not like out there and jumping off the world's tallest cliffs in the water. Just like a nice, decently sized rock and jumping into water, it just feels amazing. Especially after a long hike, feels like you didn't hike a single step as soon as you hit the water. It's very rejuvenating. So nice. Travel as well. So recently I've been jumping on the train here. So like Metrolink, Amtrak, and just hitting little destinations that I wouldn't normally go to or just drive to. So, recently took a train to Santa Barbara. That was super nice. Got to visit some of the breweries around and see what the local scene was about. Very, very nice experience. So yeah, just traveling, hiking. I'm very similar to Vitaliy. I think that's why we get along so well. It's very similar interests.
Awesome. You have an exciting trip coming up. That's, well, 2 international trips. One,
yeah.
To me, it sounds a little bit more exciting because I've never been there. It's a far off land. Where are you going?
I'm going to be going to Japan soon, so I'm really excited to check it out. One of my oldest friends, he moved out there. He married a Japanese woman, and now they're living there. And so I have a place to be in Kyoto. So I'm gonna check it out and see what Japan has to offer, man. I'm really excited. Also slightly nervous, I want to be very mindful of their what would you call it? Their etiquette, right?
Well,
because Japan has like another level of etiquette. It's not just like
yeah.
Like,
I remember you were telling me that like it's not uncommon for somebody to leave their private belongings.
Yeah,
in public.
Totally cool. Like in a cafe, they'll just leave their backpack on their chair and walk away. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, that's nice and safe.
Right. Yeah, it's totally different out there. Okay, I've got something that's a little bit business related now. Can you highlight specific, and rather, let's rephrase it like this. What do you think is the greatest challenge this market faces, the capital raising market, and how does Raise Ready aim to address it?
I'm going to say implementation. I think people start to, this goes for anything, okay, not just our space, but people have a tendency, I'm also guilty of this, is this kind of excessive analyzing, right? So you can join these masterminds, you can follow all the YouTube channels, you might be even getting education here, and that's great, educate yourself and accumulate that knowledge. That's awesome. But when it comes to actually putting it into play, rubber meeting the road, I think that's where we start to pull away from other people in our space, right? So there's a lot of theory out there, a lot of great education. I have nothing wrong with it, but are they the team that's going to do it for you, right? We're positioned as that team. Like, hey, we do offer some solutions where you can handle it yourself. That's absolutely a thing. But if you're ready to, have the rubber meet the road, I think that's where we're absolutely a cut above the rest. And this matters so much. So many people come to us and they're like, oh, they're doing the marketing. I'm like, wait, aren't you the syndicator? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be underwriting, finding deal flow, and building relationships, and that's pretty much it. can help you enable, the relationship building part. But you shouldn't be trying to become a marketing, a CMO yourself while being a syndicator. Those are both full-time jobs all on their own, right? What do you think, Vitaliy?
Well, I've had a couple of really interesting conversations last week with folks who are really operating in the institutional realm, and for various reasons. One, to see how we might be able to possibly partner with those institutional folks to be able to source their connections in order to help our people raise more money through the institutional route. And these two very distinct conversations I remember having just last week with somebody who've raised billions of dollars just by themselves. The other theme that came out is that even people in the institutional realm are looking for, they refer to as private credit. And private credit is essentially having access to high net worth individuals. So it's high net worth individual credit. So instead of going to more traditional capital source routes, and especially in the market like this, where it's harder to kind of find good deals. And here's the thing too, by the way, is that in this market, this is something that's interesting. In this market, this is when actual deals are made. And so here's what I mean by this. In a market when things are flowing and there's money available and the deals aren't technically even as good potentially in that market, because there is more leeway for negotiation. You have more of a room for error. There's not as much of an incentive to drive things down to make them really worthwhile. Now you really have to make each penny count when you're making deals. The capital is harder to come by because of that too. And so having these conversations with institutional people to let them know, like, hey, there's this source of capital that they never even thought about before, because these people are kind of a phone call relationship type guys. You pick up the phone, you call, you say, hey, you've got this deal. It's like golf course connections. Now we have this ability to reach out and form relationships to people at scale, those we've never had connections with before, those who've never heard of us, and they've never heard of the offerings that we're bringing forth to them. And so we have this ability to form relationships with people now in this new way at scale. And so kind of the greatest opportunity, I think, is again, opening up doors that didn't exist before and didn't have the opportunity to exist before. Number one, the internet, and two, the greatest, advertising channels that exist today, whose business deeply depends on making sure that these connections are made effectively, because if they're not, then they're not going to be in business, and they're spending a boatload of money each and every year to make sure that they do. And so us being able to leverage that, that to me, I think, is the greatest challenge and the greatest opportunity for us. So pretty cool. Well said.
Yeah, those opportunities you mentioned, the super high net worth individuals we've been in contact with, and it was something they've said to us that I thought was super fascinating. He's like, my world doesn't know you guys exist. And he's very grateful that he found us, right? And that, like, part of the mission now is like, well, they should know we exist. And then, something I think that's interesting that kind of is born out of all this stuff is, like, we're very quickly finding ourselves becoming a hub to many different spokes, and positioning ourselves to be connectors. We're going to be able to provide so much value in the way of connections to people who really get to know us and become involved with Raise Ready systems, and I just think that's very, very exciting.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, like as an example of that too, like, we are closely connected with one of the leading investor portal platforms out there on the internet. They see us as a partner. We view them as a partner, and so we get access to some of the their roadmap essentially before it becomes publicly available. And so it's really cool to be able to leverage that information to influence decisions that are, positively impacting our prospects and clients and our network. And so, yeah, that's really exciting. Being kind of on the cusp of that.
Yeah. All right. So there's another question here that I want to press to you. And so running a company, especially in tech and marketing space that we're in, can be super demanding. How do you maintain the work-life balance? Like what activities or habits do you use to kind of recharge, stay in your role?
I'll tell you this. I'm okay. I keep my phone super like clean. I don't have push notifications on my phone. I'm in do not disturb pretty much 24/7. And so I don't get my phone ringing when I'm not at work. That's a really big part of it. Trying to just as best as I can segment and maintain focus and giving my all to what I'm doing right now. Like right now, I'm at work. It's what I'm doing. I take a little bit of break to go eat lunch with my wife and my daughter, and then after that, I'm jumping right back to it. So maintaining focus on that directly, 100% while I'm doing it, and then after my work hours, do my best to be present with my family. And again, that's a big part of that is like reducing the amount of notifications or eliminating the notifications that my phone would receive from like Slack or email. I definitely don't have work email on my phone. And it's just one of those things that, allow me the space that I need to think strategically and also be present with whatever it is that I'm doing at that time.
I love that. This reminds me of a saying. It says, wherever you are, be there. Right? Just be there. Do what you're doing.
Yeah, simple and effective. What about you, man?
I think I really engage in a lot of minimalism. This background may not hint at that, but certainly if you saw the rest of my living quarters, like there's not a lot of clutter, right? And I try to have that reflected in my digital life as well. So just getting rid of clutter is like, it's actually a nice pastime for me. Like it feels good to get rid of things, both in my physical life and in the digital world, right? So when I'm like, totally like Marie Kondo style, and like I'll thank it for how it served me, but I'm like, goodbye little shirt or whatever, goodbye, and it feels good, like a weight being lifted off me, like this is gone. So I think when it's work time, you're locked in, right? There's nothing else you can do except focus. I have a little bit of a different style too. I want to mention this. I don't want to seem like I am a robot and when it's time to work, time to work. Sometimes I get these random spurs of, not even random, like they're actually pretty frequent, these spurs of inspiration at odd hours, right? So it's like late, it's going like midnight, and my house is a little bit quieter. And then suddenly just like a burst of 4-hour energy, and I'm just like on, sometimes it's time to work and I feel a little bit distracted. I get that varying degree, but as long as I'm here in front of the work and moving along, I feel good about myself that I'm still tackling things. Some days you're running the marathon, some days you just kind of take a couple steps, but as long as you keep moving forward, I think that's the way to kind of achieve the balance. So moving forward here, organizing my life and keeping a healthy lifestyle, I think is how I try to keep the work-life balance.
Yeah, great. Yeah, one of the things that's really stuck to me from what our business coach said is that she's really big on showing up. Like, how do you show up? And one of the things that I do is like I keep telling myself, just show up every day. Yeah. Just show up every single day and be your best self, the best you could possibly muster to being that day. Because you can't be you can't be on every single day.
Yeah, you can't.
Better than others. So yeah, but showing up every day, that's it. That's the theme.
Nice.
All right, so I think we're going to be out of time in just a minute here, but you're probably going to be finding this video in an email, probably on one of our YouTube channels, and send a comment, let us know what you thought, and we're probably going to post it on LinkedIn. Going to be looking to live stream these, and it would be sweet if we could live stream these at a very specific time, possibly each week. it would be a great opportunity for anybody to jump in and just like comment and like follow along and be a part of the conversation. That's kind of, you know, my vision for it. That would be pretty sweet. Don't know the logistical implementation of that, but I can dream. And it would be cool too if we could maybe have a theme for these going forward, and possibly even do like live like funnel reviews or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, anyway, just thanks for joining, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks for joining our little fireside chat, everybody. It's been nice. Take care.
Bye.